I'm with Ralph Quinlan Forde, talking about Tibetan medicine at the Snowline store in Toronto. So Ralph, tell me, you mentioned Tibetan medicine is very profound in Western culture these days.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's a really important medical system. Tibetan medicine, the name, the title, is kind of a bit of a misnomer or misleading. It's not just for Tibetan people. It's made up of 4 medical systems, 5 actually, including the Tibetan part of it. But it's made up of Greek medicine, the best of Greek medicine, the best of Chinese medicine, the best of Persian medicine, and Tibetan medicine. And all of these all culminate to what's called Tibetan medicine. It's the best healing medicines of the ancient cultures, and therefore Tibetan medicine holds the secrets of healing for the world. And I think the profound part is the time for these teachings now to come to the West is beginning. We have the scientific basis to bring them there. We've got that bridge, and I think lots of tremendous benefit can be attained, because Tibetan medicine is also about the promotion of health and well-being as well as the treatment of disease. And Western medicine is just solely really concerned with these days the treatment and management of the disease, and isn't focusing as much as on the healing and the restoration of health.
Yes, in fact, you mentioned that a lot of kings started with Tibetan doctors a long time ago.
They had all of the Asian aristocracies, like in Beijing, the Forbidden City, and the Dowager Empress and the last emperor, had a Tibetan doctor on their court. And they also, in Russia, the Tsars, they also all had Tibetan doctors. Such was the reputation of Tibetan doctors in their ability to heal.
Okay, speaking of which, let's talk about the 4 causes of diseases that you mentioned and the 3 energy effects. Yes, yeah. Thank you.
The 4 causes are primarily diet, lifestyle, season, and then karma. So the diet, we now know through the different studies in Mediterranean diet and everything else, and yoga studies to do with heart disease, and these have been quite famous and groundbreaking in showing the impact that proper food has on health, and also minerals and organic food. And then you've got the lifestyle, how you behave, your sleeping patterns affect your health and well-being. And then we believe that the diseases break out begin in one season and then break out in the other seasons.
I see.
And then finally then the karmic, that there is a karmic consequences or causes to disease that also need to be addressed.
Such as, how do they all interrelate, or how do you know which is which?
How do we know? I think that's through the practice. I mean, well, you first of all start with the simplest and then working, like, so first of all you will start treating the person with diet, and then secondly you'll start treating them with herbs if the diet doesn't work, if the diet won't bring these 3 effects back into balance. And the 3 effects that we were talking about are, in Tibetan, lung, tripa and bekan. That's the Tibetan. But the rough English translations are wind, bile and phlegm, or wind, fire and phlegm. And those 3 nepas, they're also called attackers, because when they're out of socket, they will attack the body or cause disturbances and cause disease. But when they're when they're in situ correctly in the body, health and well-being will ensue, and that's where the promotion of health and well-being comes from as well.
I see. Let's talk about the different types of pulses.
Or
the pulse diagnosis?
Well, when you go to a Tibetan doctor, the first thing that they will do is they will take your they will read your pulses. Currently, Western medicine takes the pulse, but doesn't feel the pulse. So they take the heartbeat, and that's the only thing that they will see. Within Tibetan medicine, you can feel and see what's going on with the heart, the small intestines, the stomach, the spleen, the kidneys, the sex organs, and then the other rest you can have lungs, large intestine, liver, gallbladder, and kidneys and sex organs as well. So, and then all of the cavities and everything else within the body. But it's very complex, and it takes a long time to learn.
Okay, let's talk about some of the foods for the different types of body types.
Okay, well, if you're a lung type, you'll probably be thin, you'll probably be very, very mental. You won't like eating breakfast, for example. And when your lung is aggravated, you'll be very stress-driven, very mental, neurotic thinking. So you have to have breakfast, for example, during the day, because the lung types don't really, in my experience, like taking breakfast. Main meal at lunchtime, and then supper at night time. What the lung types generally try to do is have the main meal at night, but quite late, like 8, 9, 10 o'clock. so that's not good for them in terms of lifestyle. The Trippa, they need all cooling foods. They need cooling foods in terms of fish, salads. I wouldn't be giving them curries or chilies especially. And their exercises like swimming, lots of water, the water elements. And then the Becken types, if you love sleep and if sleep is the answer to all of your ills, you probably have the Becken constitution. And if you start exercising, they like kind of rich foods. It's very good for them. Their joints, they have inflammatory joint pains and stuff. And if you give them like creamy foods like coconut curries and things like this, and that really helps them. And they need to be exercising. They don't like exercising. Once they start, then everything goes well for them.
Okay, let me ask you something. There's a saying that all you need is love. Now, all you need is love, or all you need is a Tibetan doctor? You mentioned how love is the overall medicine for the body.
Well, yes. In Tibetan medicine, we would say bodhicitta, loving kindness, supreme love, is the supreme elixir, the elixir to all ills, all of man's problems. So whether you give it or whether you experience it. And I think for a large part we've been talking about giving it to people, but not the part that is experiencing it first and then giving, if you follow what I mean. And I do really believe that there is a biology to this, that we do have a biology of love that we haven't been exploring. And there are certain biochemical markers, like for stress you've got homocysteine is a good marker at the moment, but in terms of love we've got oxytocin, which is the love hormone, which is the first experience of a human being when they're born and they go into the mother's breast. The milk is saturated with the love hormone and it grafts actually their brain.
I see. Well, you mentioned quite a number of things at the Snowline talk here in Toronto, and it's for the launch of your book called The Book of Tibetan Medicine. Mm-hmm. You talked a lot more about other things as well, yoga, other things as well. Can you just elaborate some of those other highlights, and then we'll just talk about your website and that?
So, I mean, Tibetan medicine is very, very rich. I mean, it's also got the oldest psychiatric system in the world, with diagnosis of the diseases and the treatments. And their understanding of psychiatric and mental illness is not totally situated in the brain. They do an awful lot of treatments as regards the heart, in terms of the mind and its imbalance. In fact, for Tibetans, when they gesture to themselves, they gesture to their heart chakra. They don't say I think, they go I think, and that type of gesture. So they're very much heart orientated in their culture. And we have one word for mind in ours. The Tibetans have 7 words for the mind in their language.
Well, speaking of which, of 7, you have about, what, 70,000 nodal points or something you call it?
We have, there's a mystical nervous system that isn't understood in the West, but it's basically 72,000 mystical nerve channels through which the mind, in terms of your life force, travels all throughout your body.
Wow.
Yeah.
How can we get in touch with you and learn more of this?
You can get in touch with me through my foundation, the Medicine Buddha Foundation, where I want to promote the Medicine Buddha and the Medicine Buddha mantra within medicine and medical schools everywhere. And that's the www.medicinebuddhafoundation.org, and or Fire Heart Bliss, or just put the name of the book in, that will pop up.
Great. Well, it's been very enlightening, very educational. I'd like you to be my doctor. That's how moved I am by your ability, not only just your wisdom, but your ability to communicate all this wisdom, which is why you're here. You, in the beginning of the talk, you said you just want to give it all away, which is very generous and compassionate of you. Yeah,
we have to give it away if we want to save Tibetan medicine and to really cause a revolution in Western medicine and to promote healing once again, and to come back to love and compassion as being the primary thing. We have to give it away. We have to inspire people and give them the tools to heal themselves and not to be dependent on external things.
Okay. And your book again, let's see that book.
There we go. The Book of Tibetan Medicine.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.